One of the things that's popular in the news today is the Black Lives Matter. And really, it should be all lives matter. I know that a lot of this is fueled by the media. They're focusing on certain events and police shootings, and they want that division between the races. They want that division between the classes. It's how essentially the government keeps things in order and keeps the focus as much as possible off of them and all the mistakes that they're doing. I mean, if you look at the two candidates we have running for president right now, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, that's like choosing between being executed by hanging or executed by firing squad. I mean, either way, you're screwed. So, but really, the cop shootings, police make mistakes. Yes, they've made some bad ones. But now people are targeting police officers and killing them. And it's just not right. I grew up respecting authority, whether it was my parents, grandparents, all adults. Definitely, grew up respecting police officers and firefighters, EMTs. Those were people you looked up to. I think a lot of little boys especially grew up, I want to be a police officer when I grow up. I want to be a fireman when I grow up. Or when you be in the military when I grow up. And I think we've lost that since kids don't think that anymore. My oldest son said, I want to grow up and be a video game designer. So does every other kid these days. But we've lost that respect for society, and we're letting the media control everything we do. We're letting them make division of the classes, division of religions, divisions of race. And I think the average person, at least I would hope the average person, isn't really that way. I know I'm not that way. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what religion you are. If you're a good person, you're a good person. If you're not a good person, you're not a good person. You could be blue, pink, purple, or yellow. I could care less. But, if you're a good, genuine person, then that's what you are. Whether you're atheist, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, doesn't matter. So it's time we started not paying attention to what the media essentially is telling us to do. They're controlling. You've got CNN, which is the Clinton News Network, and of course Fox News, which is extremely biased as well. And we're letting them control us. They will only show stories that has their agenda in mind, and it's definitely not an unbiased view. And it's you can watch CNN or Fox for 5 minutes and know exactly the agenda that they're going for. And we as a people, Americans, need to band together in communities and make decisions for ourselves. Don't let the media make those decisions for us. Use our own brains and make the right decisions. Stop judging people so much. That's a big problem with people, is we're very judgmental. And, people have this thing where they see, a white couple may see a black family moving next door and go, oh, shit. We need to stop that, okay? We may see a Mexican family move in. Oh, God. So we've got to stop that way of thinking. This country was founded on people coming from all different countries. We had initially, of course, it was England, and then we had the Irish, we had the Italians, we had the Polish, we had the Germans, all immigrating to the United States. So we're a very multicultural country, more so than probably almost any other country in the world, as it was called back in the day, the Great Melting Pot. And so we need to be proud to be Americans. We need to stop these morons from burning the flag and stepping on the flag. I catch somebody doing that, and I'll punch them in the face. Okay, I'm prior military. I grew up in a military family. I respect the American flag. I'm proud to be American. If I catch you doing it to a flag, I'm going to knock you out. I'm 6'1", 285-pound power lifter. I'm going to knock you out. Okay? So, be respectful of this country. If you're not respectful of this country and you hate being here so bad, go back to where you came from. As simple as that. You don't like it, go home. Okay? It's just the way it is. You know, if you're going to be disrespectful to this country publicly, and you don't like the way people are reacting to your disrespectful actions, you have no one to blame but yourself. You can't go out into an environment, out into public, start burning a flag and not expect somebody to get pissed off at you. It's going to happen, okay? You know, you're abusing that right, the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech. You're abusing that right. All the constitutional our rights are, of course, abused on a daily basis by politicians, by the public, by media. They're trampled on a daily basis. Our founding fathers are rolling in their graves how we've let this country go. You know, we look back in, you know, the last, couple decades, and of course I wasn't around in the 1950s, but from everything I've seen, everything I've heard, you know, probably the 1950s were probably the best generation that this country has seen. There was more wholesomeness. I mean, you didn't have reality TV. You know, you had shows, at least within that era. You had the Andy Griffith Show. You had Leave It to Beaver, My Three Sons, the Dick Van Dyke Show. You had shows that were wholesome. They weren't about sex. They weren't about drugs. They weren't about violence. They weren't about people going into rehab. It wasn't reality, you know, fake reality TV. It was sitcoms. And it was sitcoms that had life lessons in it. The Brady Bunch, again, there was so many shows that taught lessons. I mean, in Dick Van Dyke Show, they didn't even sleep in the same bed. They had two separate beds. I mean, that's how, I don't want to say censored, but that's how it was controlled. And slowly we've allowed more and more things to be allowed on television. I remember watching an episode of Friends when Phoebe said the word bitch. And 20 years ago, you wouldn't have heard that. I mean, now you hear all kinds of profane words, other than probably the F word, is about the only thing, and the C word, is about the only two things you don't hear on network TV. And, you know, so, and I mean, the movies and the TVs and the video games are getting more violent, and the younger generations are seeing these things becoming almost disenchanted or becoming disillusioned to think that it's okay. You know, not necessarily that it's okay, but they start to lose that innocence when they see these things. Because the video games getting so more realistic, so violent, and we need to tone all this back. We need to kind of go back in time a little bit and remember about family values, about loving thy neighbor, and being a community. And it's not a hard concept. But we've lost this. We all live in this little personal bubble now, and with social media, of course, I'm using it right now. But with social media, you know, people are allowed to express themselves even more, and those opinions can be seen by millions of people, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So ignore the news. I mean, unless you're going to watch it for the weather or the traffic, just watch that. Stop watching these reality shows like The Real Housewives shows and Big Brother and The Bachelor and Survivor. All these shows that, I hate to break it to you, but they're not really reality. They're scripted. Because if you really took a family and watched them day to day, it'd be boring as hell. So they've got to throw in stupidity and violence and controversy and drama. It's the only way it makes it interesting. I can't stand shows like that. I mean, Honey Boo Boo. Who the hell was watching Honey Boo Boo? Okay? Just use your brains, think for yourself, be more involved in your community, and just be a good person. That's all you need to be. And I think that'll turn the country around.